Three, two.
Now you good? Oh, I thought you were man.
3, 2.
What up? What up? What up? What is happening, good people? Welcome to this live edition of Herb and Two, alongside Tucson Warner. My name is Herb Howard. This is where we get together, talk about issues currently impacting the black community. We talk about how those issues impact us as individuals and also how they impact us as a collective. And along with your help, we talk through these issues in hopes of finding the optimum solutions for how we can overcome said issues. Again, overcome them as individuals, but perhaps more importantly, overcome them as a collective. Thank y'all so very, very much for choosing to be a part of this conversation. As always, your input is valued. It is certainly appreciated. Anything you want to add to the conversation, feel free to do so. We will read through as many of your comments as possible while we go through the show. We would kindly request that you please take a quick second to share the broadcast. Also, like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the page and set the alert so you get reminders anytime that the page goes live. Again, this is Herb and Two. It is intellectual thuggery at its absolute finest. My name is Herb. His name is Two. Two. What's happening, good brother?
What's up, family? I'm trying to share the lives to the Facebook because we do this in the blackest way possible.
We do.
So we got to get it up to the Facebook while we getting it up to the YouTube. So I'm making it happen right now. But I'm blessed. How you?
Ain't nothing to it, man. You know, my season is coming along. It is about to be, you know, my season is 60, 65 degrees outside. You know, once it's that.
Brother, it snowed yesterday. Or the day before.
First of all, it wasn't yesterday.
It's not your season yet. It's February.
Yeah, but it's Chicago. You can get all 4 seasons in a day. So don't let that one little snow, you know what I'm saying, tweak you out.
Oh, so this one little fake nice weather, you allowing that to tweak you out?
No, I'm taking advantage of it.
Oh, okay.
Anytime it's 60 or above, you already know I'm putting my shorts on. I'm outside.
I'm old, G. It's pneumonia weather. I'm straight. I roll with the window down. No, that's close as I'm
Oh.
getting to. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm gonna put on my shorts as soon as the weather say I can.
You know,
We only get like
dark-skinned white man.
70 of these days in the year, fam. I'm outside.
Well, do your thing, brother.
I don't even be outside, but I'm gonna have on shorts though, wherever I go.
Well, you know, whatever floats your boat, brother. Whatever floats your boat.
That's
I'm gonna be healthy. That's what I'm gonna do.
Do you think I'm unhealthy?
You know they got a new disease going around like COVID that ain't nobody talking about. You know that? You heard the rumors that's out there?
Like a whooping cough or something?
Yeah, but it don't show up on none of the tests.
Yeah.
It's for all the people who got the vax.
Well, you know I didn't get that. Although I did have a cough for like a couple weeks. I couldn't stop coughing. Like my nose wasn't running, my head didn't hurt, but I had the damn cough and just a bunch of phlegm in my chest and shit.
When you get over this yet?
Yeah, I got over this. I thought you said you weren't worried about it.
Why you all up in here with me, man?
You got worried quick as hell.
Yeah, I can't take none of that, brother. I'm old. I got arthritis, I got diabetes all on me, man. I want no stress. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man. Anyway, man, we got a lot of good conversation going on today. As y'all can see, got a guest live in studio with us this afternoon. Kelvin, what's happening, man? How you feeling?
What's up, my brother? I'm good. How you?
I'm trying to fix it. Hell y'all want me to do?
Putting this thing on.
Is that better?
You know, he different, man. He always Google, he Twitter, you know what I mean? It's what he do.
Wow.
You just learn to accept it.
Says the dude who chews gum and pops bubbles all show.
You learn to accept it. See, it's what it is.
Hey, you lost your fur filter thingy, Majiggy Bob. It's on the floor.
Oh well.
Learn to accept it.
I like it raw. How about
Wow. That is aggressive.
that? How about that? Mr. Lesbian House Party.
Had a good time too. Shout out to Kelly, man. Happy birthday. Dope party. It was super cool. Then I went and caught up with JL at another spot. I was outside yesterday.
You was in the streets, huh?
Yeah, man. It was a good time.
Okay.
Either way, though, man, I didn't mean to ruin your introduction with their rudeness. You know what I mean?
We good.
Kelvin Dunnigan is in the building with us. Did I pronounce that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. It's like, is it Dunnigan? Is it Dunnigan?
No,
Had a teammate named Dunnigan. I think he had 2 N's. But anyway,
Okay.
what's good, man? Appreciate you coming through, man. Sharing some of your time with us. What's the word? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. Enjoying this weather.
On the real, right?
Good. February. You know, we got spring early.
Hey, I don't know about that groundhog shit, but they said, I don't know which one he's supposed to do. When he see it, it's a long winter, or when he don't see it, it's a long winter. His shadow.
It ain't real, whatever.
I don't know, because they was like he didn't see it, and it's gonna be a short winter, and now it's 65.
I got zero great reliance, man. If a white man say follow this, I don't follow it. It's just how it is, man. I don't know about you.
That sounds more like some ancient stuff, though. That sounds more like something
No, that's a lie.
we
I
would
can't
have
remember
learned.
what the lie is based on. I just recently heard how the lie came about.
Yeah.
All of it is a lie.
Uh,
That's what we had to talk about, right? Disrupting the disruptor.
That's right. That's
You know
right.
what I'm saying?
you know,
So I don't buy into none of the philosophies and theories. I disrupt the disruptors. Zero great reliance. Yeah.
what about global warming then?
Well, that's real.
That's real, right?
That's science.
65 in Chicago in February. Global warming is
I don't think
legit.
that's a part of Chicago's effect. I don't think it's global warming in Chicago. I just think Chicago was in a unique position in the planet. I think Chicago's Mecca, right?
I do
think
too.
Chicago's Mecca. Hence why we got the fresh bottled water. Hence why we experience all the seasons. Hence why we got all the things. It just happens to be the middle of the planet. Everything hits here.
Yeah, but I still think that like anything that happens anywhere on Earth affects everywhere on Earth. You know what I mean? Like a butterfly effect type thing. And I think that's real. So, you know, I'm into them nature shows and all that. So I'll be watching them all the time, and I'll be salty when the polar bears be like in the melting ice caps and all that. They be in the middle of the thing. They all got this much ice. Then I'd be sad like, that's fucked up. But then it'd be 65 in February. I'd be like, fuck them polar bears.
Hey, we random as hell, but check this out. I just see some polar bear shit. You know the polar bear is probably the most dangerous animal, period.
I don't doubt it. They like 8,000 pounds, bro.
That's crazy, man. They was like, they don't got no natural predators. They the most gangster of all the bears. I only watch this shit because I know you like this stupid
Yeah, I
shit.
love
I
it.
find myself like, why am I watching this?
I love it,
I don't
man.
never see no polar bear.
Gee, they crack like through several feet of ice just by pouncing on it. Just boom,
Yeah, they different.
boom. Like come on, man.
Yeah,
You don't want no smoke with that. And they can still get up to like 25, 30 miles per hour on the running side. And they can swim for miles and miles and miles. Like they nuts, bro.
Yeah, polar bear fuck you up.
Yeah, it's not a game. It's not a game at all. Imagine fishing some shit you can't see. They fishing through the ice and they know the fish right there. Like
I go to
Boom.
the grocery store. My fish be right there.
I go to the grocery store.
I see them all, skinned and everything.
You went to that I don't know what it was, the little remote area, like deep in Illinois or close in Michigan.
We was in Michigan. We was in like closer to Detroit, the little cabin joint.
Right. But it's like 90 miles from the crib, something like that.
It's far. I don't
Yeah. So my partner's like, hey, you wanna go? Send me the video. She's like, you wanna go here? And I'm like, I'm gonna have to shoot a bear. She's like, no. Like it's cool. The little cabin look cool. The little black got all this open glass and natural light and all that shit. But I'm like, what happens when the sun
You ain't
goes
gonna see
down?
nothing but no deer, but it's still scary. G. Once the 5 o'clock hit and that sun go down,
So I'm saying it's
you
black as
realize you are
hell.
in the forest.
It's over with.
Yeah, I'm cool. I ain't like it. I don't wanna
Straight
do
in
it.
the perm on that.
Good.
I had culture shock just going to college. I went to school down in Southern Illinois. Getting down there, I'm like, yo, what is this? I'm walking to the library.
You saw white people?
Almost, but
They do exist.
that was weird. Now the Confederate flags and all that was the thing. I'm like, yo, this is wild. But more like when the library is like across from the dorms. You got to walk a ways and bridges and woods and all that to get to the library. I see deer just. I'm like, yo, what the fuck is this? No, sir, man. Take me back to 71st and Jeffrey, man. I'd rather walk down the dark alley with a bunch of niggas I don't know than to be walking to the library and a deer just run across the path. That tweaked me out. I almost came right back to the crib. No, thank you.
It happens, brother. It happens.
No, I ain't with it.
Kelvin, tell us what's up with disruptors, man. Explain that to us.
All right, man. So it's a course. It's a twofold movement I'm doing. I created last year, Disrupt the Disruptors. On one end, I'm teaching and stressing the importance of ownership and how young people can purchase their first property right out of college.
Mm-hmm.
3 weeks after graduation, they can buy their first property. With it's a couple of small requirements, but instead of typically when we graduate from college or whatever, you either go back home to your parents, which I know don't nobody want to do. You've been gone for 6 years, whatever the case. So you go back home.
I was on the 6-year plan. I was on that.
Right. So,
But not for a master's though. It was just for his associates. Like,
yeah. So teaching them how to buy their first property straight out of college. Now, I also own a trucking company. So for the young people that don't choose to go to college, because we all know college ain't for everybody,
Yeah.
I teach them how to get into the trucking industry and make money that way. Uh, in the trucking industry, I also show them how to start their own trucking company if they choose to go that direction. But basically, the importance of it is giving them a vehicle to make the money to buy the property with.
Right.
So that's the first fold. Second fold is it's a whole encouragement tool. In the course, you'll see have some preaching in there, encouraging some scriptures in there, disrupting the disruptors, whatever that is in your individual lives. We all got disruptors. We got, I was talking with a young guy last night, anxiety or procrastination. A lot of us got depression. We don't even know we're depressed, but we are. So whatever those disruptors are in your life, we got to disrupt them in order to get to where we're trying to get to in life, the next level. Whatever your goals are, and just in general, we have to disrupt them the best way we can. So that's basically the meat and potatoes of the course.
I like that conceptually because I view myself as a disruptor, right? I want to disrupt all the status quo, all the current systems that's in place that don't really benefit us. But I never really thought about the idea of going to that next level of disrupting what's disrupting me from being a disruptor. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I like that though. I think that's dope, man. We had a group in here Friday talking about, violence and stuff like that. And one of the brothers that was in the conversation with us, he recently finished a 10-year book tour, and we call them book tours. But he finished the 10-year book tour, and then he was talking about, how, by the time he was, at the end of his book tour, he had calmed himself down and humbled himself and had a plan for what he wanted to do. So he came back and got a CDL, and now he talked to all his street partners about, like, you can get your CDL, and that can give you at least an opportunity to consider some other routes. Right. You know what I mean? So that's dope that you, putting people in tune with some of that same stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely a tool. Also in the course, when you go through it, the last page is full of resources. So we have a lot. It's Chicago, at least Illinois. We have a lot of different locations that they give grants. They offer grants to pay for the CDL school. And two of the resources on there are specifically for felons or whatever the case once they come out. They can still get the grant to cover their class, their school, and then get to trucking. And you made a good point. I from the South Side, and like a lot of us from the inner city, we run into trouble. We have a little season of experience.
Trouble running to us on the South Side. You know what I mean?
Some people's seasons last longer than others, but
that's real.
So I understand that, coming from that environment and how, like I said, school not for everybody. And a lot of times we make decisions, like I just speak for myself, a lot of times you make decisions because you got too much time on your hands and you really don't understand how much options that we actually have. A lot of stuff was kept from us as a people and in general, which was intentional, which I call disruptors. Real estate, credit, all the kind of stuff that I'm into now, we wasn't taught. That wasn't taught to us. So, me for example, in the season of my life, I was unemployed for a couple of years and struggled real bad. But I go back and think, had I knew then, because this was available then. If I knew then what I know now, there's no way I would have struggled that long. Get a license and get on the road. I'd have been jumped on that. You know what I mean? So it's just that I have a passion for my experiences and the information is for everybody, not just young people, because we got some 40 or 50 people that ain't quite sure what direction they're going. So, but it's primarily geared towards young people that if you haven't quite figured it out, or you're trying to figure it out, what you like, what you're interested in, this is just an option or a vehicle, and it's positive, it's productive, something that you can do. And while you think about it, while you're on the road or while you exploring real estate, whatever, as much time as you're spending over there, that's time that you're not at home coming up with stuff to get you in trouble. You know what I mean? So.
Man, it's interesting. You said you had a couple of years where you was unemployed and you were just down bad and having a hard time. I've been dealing with this thought in my mind for a while now. I got a 18-year-old son. And we kind of at a crossroads of what's next in life. You know what I mean? And I got this philosophy, man, that I believe that men are forged through fire. I personally believe that, right? I think you almost have to hit rock bottom to find your way or to find your path in manhood. Like I think you got to face whatever that is that limits you and move past it. I.e., disrupting is disrupting. And oftentimes you can't do that until you crash out in a lot of ways.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That's right.
It's. I think it's just
For black men, for sure.
I think for black men that because of the odds and because of the opportunities are limited, it might be more visible. But I think it's all men. You know what I mean? Rock bottom looks different for different people. You know
Sure.
what I mean? Some people are born into the shit. It just is what it is. And your time or your season that you hit that, you got to navigate it to come up out of it to be who you're supposed to be. No one can determine what that time is, though. You know what I mean? But I do think it's a necessity in the life of a man, right? And you glazed over that, and Herb said it to you, like we had a group of guys in here that kind of, some that just came home, some probably on their way in, some, the conversation was about how do we change some of the behaviors in our community, man. Like what were some of the guideposts or inspirations or that got you out of that mode, or what got you to that mode to get to hit rock bottom, and how did you figure your way through?
So, like I said, I was younger. I made enough bad decisions and got in trouble. So, for example, I think I was 21. I was out in the streets running around, doing everything, and I got into an altercation and a gunfight, and a bullet grazed the back of my head. I had to get staples, what have you, and then another partner of mine got shot in both his legs. So that was one of the first like life, shaking situations, and I survived it. It was traumatic for my whole family, but I survived it, and I, of course, reality, it didn't click like you would think. Oh, I would have just turned right around. No, yeah, I survived it, and I slowed down a little bit, but I still didn't turn all the way. And so that fast lifestyle, and I had a good job at the time, but hanging out all night, I may come in from back then. Let's see what we doing. We doing the apartment lounge or Laristo or something like that. So, so I'm hanging out.
Laristo.
You know what I mean? I'm hanging out all night long. Put my uniform on, and go straight to work and sleep. Crazy. You know how we do. So, and we also know that's only gonna last so long. So that lifestyle, I lost my job, and at the time, I met my now wife, and so now let's see where we at. We at 20, maybe 22 somewhere. I get lost in translation, but to your point, I found myself 22 years old because when I met my now wife, she already had children. So I say fast forward a little bit. I'm 23 years old with no job in a 2-bedroom apartment with now 4 children. Kind of unheard of.
Yeah.
23 years old.
Yeah.
Raising 4 children, 23 in 2-bedroom apartment. So that's kind of close to the bottom. You know what I mean? Where I was at. Especially even before the fourth child was born, she was pregnant, and we 2-bedroom apartment, and we living off of a maternity leave income. It's not even a full check. You know what I mean? So it was.
You got to make something shake at that point.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I'm still out. I'm still ain't all the way. You see what I'm saying? I'm
Right.
still kind of got one foot out. So, but I turned my faith into God. I've always been in the church. I reached out to my pastor in prayer. He helped me. My pastor, shout out Bishop Larry Trotter. And one thing that he always said that still sticks with me to this day is that rock bottom don't mean nothing to God because God made the rock. Right? And I just, I kept my faith. I kept praying. And, blessings came along, and, here I am now. I got real estate, and I got trucking company, and, my children are doing well. The same children that we were in 2-bedroom apartment, and they had to make pallets on the floor. We didn't have enough beds. So, how we do, they put the pallet on the floor, and everybody get a cover.
Yeah.
And now my son is, so I got one son that's a police officer, got his first building. A couple years ago, and now I got my other son is 20. He's a truck driver. I got him to trucking. He's a truck driver, and he just bought his first 4 unit a couple months ago. So all that is just a testimony of how good God is and what God can do for you. And no matter what your history, whatever, because like I said, outside all the way, did it, enjoyed it. I caught a couple charges. So I experienced all of that. But all thanks to God for turning around for me.
That's definitely what's up, man. I think that I think that sometimes the biggest challenge, and you talk about disrupting the disruptors, is identifying them.
Yeah.
Right? Two talked about, being born into certain stuff. You don't even necessarily recognize it as a disruptor. You don't recognize it as a barrier to you reaching the places that you want to get to. It's just Tuesday. You know what I mean? It's just what it is. And I think even being able to create the space to step back and identify those things. What are the things that are hindering me? You know what I'm saying? What are these roadblocks that I need to get over? And I think you need space and time to even be able to do that. And that may be the rock bottom. That might be a book tour. You know what I mean? That might be an illness. That might be getting shot in your head. That might be, whatever, to be like, hold up. You know what I mean? Hold up for a second. Let me really take, a bird's eye view of this thing and figure out what needs to stay, what needs to go, what needs to be added.
Yeah, and that's a good point because, with all that I just said, I began to really straighten up. Like you said, start identifying different disruptors. And I got my first house, and we're in the process of moving. And you know how it is. You want to go back to your neighborhood and your old friends you kind of came up with. So one night I decided to go down there just to hang out. I ain't seen them ain't been around in a while. Long story short, car get shot up. Because now the neighborhood kind of changed. So some young guys over there don't really, shoot the car up. And this particular time, bullet came through the headrest, didn't touch me. I didn't even, you don't know how bad until you get out the car and look at the car like, oh man.
Right.
Because at the time, you just ducking, trying to get out. You just can't, so I think at that point, like that was it for me. Like, okay, now I'm on this path. I can't even go back necessarily to, you know what I mean? Even if it's just one night every few months, then just stop. You know what I mean? Just stop because, you got family, you got people depending on you. So what you think is, and I think it was all in design, all the plan, but what you think is maybe harmless or it's just whatever. No, when you make a decision that you're ready to disrupt the disruptors in your life, whatever it is, whether it's your environment, toxic relationships, like kind of what you guys are alluding to is what we used to. Just the culture that we used to and the environment we came up in, you just think it's normal. But a lot of times you got to redefine what normal is. You got to redefine what normal is. And once you do that, I think that's one of the first steps of disrupting. And some of the disruptors are closer than what you think. Mess around, be in your house, right? So whatever it is you got to do, you got to value yourself enough to disrupt it, And like now I'm big on one of my mentors to talk about, when we teach this whole real estate thing, we talk about how the goal is to get freedom and buy buildings for every bill you have. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what we're teaching with the whole real estate piece and entrepreneurship. But that's a level of taking responsibility. If you buy a property the goal is to take debt and debt which incurs stress, which is a disruptor. So if you're working to take that off of you, that leaves you the time and the mental space and the freedom to think about what it is that you may really want to do, whatever your passion is or whatever, take time to spend with your kids, take time to spend with your family, 'cause a lot of times we stressed out for money, employment or whatever the case, and that disruptor kind of pulls your attention away, so now you're not able to focus on what's important to you, children, wife, family, stuff like that. So.
Yeah, that's dope, man. So in that story though, how'd you get into, what was it, trucking first?
No. Got into real estate first. So just similar to this, I was talking with one of the homies, and he was already in real estate. We was working together, worked at AT&T, but he was already working in doing real estate. He just started talking to me about credit. At the time, I didn't know nothing, So what I do, I said, we can do that. Let me go try it, So went and tried it. Went to YouTube, looked at a couple videos, and I went and bought a 2-unit, my first 2-unit.
We should give us some steps here though. Your homie said, yeah, you should get the real estate. You looked online and then you bought the building. Some steps missing.
My man.
How we get to the paper to get to the building? How do we get to the credit to get to the building? What's the process?
I got you. So I had no knowledge of credit. I had a decent job. Let's say at that point I might have been making, I don't know, 50 a year, maybe, nothing crazy, AT&T. Um, and I didn't have really much credit. I think I might have had a car note maybe. But when you don't have no idea what credit is, it's just there. You don't know what's whatever. So um, he started telling me that with a minimum 640 credit score, you can get an FHA loan. FHA is 3.5% down. So okay, cool. Well, how I know where my credit is? Go here. Okay, cool. So go to Credit Karma and the different credit websites, see what my credit score was. It was 6 something. It was somewhere in there. It wasn't 700, but it was 6 something, and I knew I qualified. So then, like I said, I just went to Wells, looked up the bank, went to Wells Fargo. I didn't know nobody in Wells Fargo. I went to Wells Fargo, submitted application. They said I was pre-approved for a 2-unit. My aunt at the time was a real estate broker, so she started showing me around, and so I found a 2-unit. It was already partially occupied, so it didn't need no work or anything like that. It just was a matter of just buy it and to start collecting. You know what I mean? So I did it, and I might have spent this maybe 2015 maybe. I might have spent $3,000, if that. You know what I mean? So it really wasn't crazy. So bought the 2-unit. At the time I was collecting, I was making $900 a month off that one building in addition to my job. So then I'm going into YouTube and I learned, well, wait a minute. You could become a real estate broker and get a commission off your own purchases. So, oh, cool. That's it. So what I do, I go to South Suburban. I think my mom might have recommended me to the class, but I took a class with Miss April Troop at South Suburban. Evening classes twice a week. Got my broker license. So then but I got my license just to, get commission on my own purchases. Then just kept on buying more property and just educating myself on what I was doing. And I eventually started helping other people. So now I work with other investors. But that's how I got started. Just 640 credit score, 3.5% down, and just gave it a try. So that's what's in the course mainly. I'm just teaching the beginner stages of, do the math. If it's a building that's 150,000 and it's 3.5% down, that's not, you know what I mean? And they got down payment assistance grants and a lot of, you can get gifts. And something else I learned later, as I started buying big and more, you can get gifts from friends or family. So say if I needed 7,000 and I only have 4 or only have 5, I could get a gift. All you just got to put on the document that you're giving Kelvin a gift from your account, which is funded from your job, and just a gift. So if you're my homie, my brother, my parents, hey, loan me this $2,000 for me to buy a building, I'll pay you back whatever the case. So and I apply that to the same concept. Parents, if you got a child that's graduating college, already spent $1,000 on tuition or their living arrangement anyway. So I couldn't see you having a problem with loaning them a couple $1,000 to buy their first building to get out. You know what I mean? And that may be the foundation to them, growing. So
Now, where can people access your course, your information on it?
all right, so my course is www.kelvindunigan, KelvinDunigan.com. That's where you can reach the course. All information is in there. My social media is Kelvin Dunnigan on Facebook. Of course, is on there. The link is on there. And IG Kelz, KELZ _the _general.
How about trucking? How'd you get into trucking, bro?
So trucking. Pandemic. Right before the pandemic, I was at AT&T still. And I forget the guy that got killed with the police brutality and they tore the city up.
Laquan McDonald?
I think so. Florida. One of those. Yeah, they tore the whole city up. And I was working in those areas. So the short of it, it was strife at work with AT&T. It got real bad. Pandemic came. I didn't feel comfortable going to people's houses and doing that. So it just got real contentious. So I stepped out on faith. They were offering a package to, you can voluntarily resign and give you a package. So I stepped out on faith, prayed about it, and I took the package and voluntarily resigned. I had the check they gave, I had my pension and my 401k, and I purchased a semi truck. I had a couple of guys that were in the trucking already, and they was talking to me, helping me with it. So I purchased the truck. He told me he would drive for me. So I purchased the truck, started the company, did all the paperwork, what have you. He was my partner was my first driver. And it started being, very profitable to the point where I ended up buying, more and more trucks. So that's kind of how I got into it. I always wanted to get into trucking, but when you working and you raising a family, that kind of stuff, and you're accustomed to the 9 to 5 thing, then that's different. That's a whole nother, self-employed, that's a whole nother monster. So I just never took the leap of faith. But when the pandemic came and stuff, I stepped out there and been working out for me.
Which one is more lucrative?
Real estate or trucking? So real estate is more, I guess, what's wrong with you? Like solid is more every month.
Dependable.
Yeah. Trucking is a little more volatile, but trucking is also weekly money. I think at the height of it, of me doing the trucking, I might have, and it's before I started driving, because eventually I really got my license and that whole thing. But just as having a driver, at the height of it, I might have got checked for $4,500 in a week. So it's good on that regard. It's weekly money. It's great money as long as you got it set up right. But real estate is just trucks, stuff happens.
Yeah, a lot of breakdowns.
Yeah, stuff happens.
Expensive stuff.
The
Drivers
can't
ain't
find his way to
dependable.
work. Right. I gotta go home, all that kind of stuff. Real estate, especially you got the CHA tenants or whatever the case, and then that great thing about real estate, it goes up in value over time. So you gain the equity, you can actually pass it down. So I think real estate is more overall lucrative. But hand in hand, you kind of doing it. Right.
Yeah, I know we had this kind of capitalism push and culturally we have this capitalism push. Like we got pods like Earn Your Leisure popping up and getting a lot of success.
Yeah.
It's a lot of conversations around blacks investing and blacks in the stock market and all that type of stuff. But we're also in a different space in regards to just the economy in general, right? I just read a study the other day, like this is a 30-year high in food costs. You know what I mean? Inflation on food is at the 30-year high. You know what I mean? And I read another study about this Asian guy who's in the digital space, and he was saying in the next 10 to 15 years that 40% of the American workforce is going to be digital, like it's going to be AI based.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's in the next 10 years. You know what I mean? And I thought it was real interesting, like, because we don't give credence to technology, right? Technology happens, it's coming all the time, right? We all run around with cell phones. Don't nobody own a fax machine today, but we're old enough to see and being witness to what a fax machine was. We old enough, I ain't gonna say all of us, but shit, I had typewriters in my house when I was sure. My kids have no concept of what a typewriter is or a fax machine.
Right.
And truthfully, their kids probably not gonna have no concept of what a cell phone is. It's gonna be something different. You know what I mean? But when you start looking at the speed in which technology is taking over industry, right? I wonder, and I'm with black ownership for sure, but there's a conversation we was also having around just business in general, right? I feel like in order to build capital, you must first build community, right? I think most people buy and sell with people they're comfortable with. You know what I mean? It just is what it is.
True.
Everybody but us. And that's just because we don't have the option, right? So when you're hungry and you got to go to the grocery store, it's 3 black-owned grocery stores in all of America.
Right.
You know what I mean? You go to the corner store, it's Walgreens. Right. You know what I mean? We don't have the option.
Right.
But if you go to any of these, even in our own city, right, you can pull up to the Hispanic community and you see they got a Hispanic grocery store. You pull up to the Hispanic community, they got a Hispanic phone shop. They got it's very visible that we only dealing with us. Right? So in concept, when we start talking about black and capitalism, man, I start wondering, as we ascend in our capital, what are we pushing back to our community? What are we doing back to our community? I'm not even saying in a given sense, right? But even if the focus is like to the point of the class, how can I bring other young brothers with, you know, who lost or don't have any direction to a way to earn and make this viable? And is there a contingency plan if in the next 10 years Tesla technology takes over trucking? Like, what happens then? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and to your point, I don't know if you saw it, Tesla, however, has already started.
I know. That's what I'm asking.
They already started. So, as far as a contingency plan, I believe, and let's just, you say 10, let's just give them 5 years. The purpose of you, like these are vehicles to fund, is basically to fund you. Because I don't want to assume that everyone wants to do trucking or wants to do real estate, what have you. But real estate, yes, because you have to, I believe everyone should own where they live. Because you got to live there regardless. But in regards to trucking, if you get into the trucking industry and you get your CDL license and you start driving for a company, whatever the case, you can start making money, which is a decent amount of money. Cause just real quick, think about it. Most truck drivers make a lot more money than people that got letters behind their name. So you're making a decent amount of money. So if you make the money, use it as a tool to something that the AI may not do away with, then it's serving its purpose. Because you have enough time to make some money. You know, these truck people that maybe guys that's watching that's tax professionals. You know, when you do these trucker taxes, they coming in $100,000, $200,000. So there's more than enough money that you can make in a year or two to put up as a nest egg or to invest, whether it's in stocks or whatever the case. This is just a vehicle for you to make money, to invest or put yourself in position to be in a possible industry that AI won't do away with. So, you know, the whole trucking and that automation thing, I see both sides. You know, we just never know. But like you said, it's a great possibility that it would really affect the industry. So you want to do your due diligence and get in there now, get your money together, and really, you know, make better decisions. But now you have resources to make those decisions with.
Yeah, man, it's interesting. I'm all for ownership. Yeah. I'm all for, you know, creating pathways to getting capital. I be reading the data, bro, and it scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Right. Even when, that's why I asked, like, you skipped some steps, and I was like, how did you get to the first property or whatever, right? And you was like, man, I was working a job. I looked at my credit. I was ignorant, but I looked at my credit and I was at a 640, right? Two things there's like uber blessings just in your life, whether we recognize it or not. One, you had a job. You know
Absolutely.
What I mean? Two, you was at a 640. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
That ain't the worst of the worst.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
And the data in this city alone, like, drives me crazy, right? Like, they say between 18 and 44, it's like a 50% unemployment rate with black males.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know how our neighborhoods is, man. You wouldn't even know it, but your mama didn't use your credit when you were 6 years old to get XYZ set. You know what I mean?
Right.
You just don't know.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And everybody's on the edge of survival. They said dual income earning black household, the median is less than $50,000. So there's two people busting down checks, and
That's right.
y'all got 25 apiece.
That's right.
You know what I mean? It's like we living on the edge of survival. You know what I mean? And to the point of the young boys we had in here Friday, I get why they're making the decisions they make. You know what I mean? And I'm fully with you when you was like, man, this allows you some freedom to think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I appreciate you being your own boss, and I appreciate you having a concept to turn around and teach other people how to do the same thing, because there's a necessity that's happening. Again, like I said, you build community first, and then you can build capital, right? When we think about like the highest perform, we all push that, go to school, get a good education. I don't even believe in that shit, right? You think about the highest performers in any classroom, they're usually Asian kids. You know what I mean? But when you go to corporate, you don't see Asian people.
That's right.
So it's like, what the fuck is the value, right? But then you go to the corner and you got a nail shop. And the nail shop's probably pulling in a couple $1 million a year doing somebody's nails. You ain't really thinking about it like that. Or the Arabs that are now putting lemon pepper on chicken. You know what I mean? $1 million. No, it's funny, but
No, you did this.
right? And we don't think of it like this, but those things right there, chicken and fucking nails, are insulating whole communities. You know what I mean? Products that they can't even sell to their own people. They can't sell their own people fried chicken with lemon pepper on it. They can't sell their own people, I'm gonna do your nails.
Wouldn't.
You know what I mean? Not even wouldn't. Can't.
It's against what they.
They're not rocking. Right? The Arab store that you go to get the squares and the bacon, they don't eat that. They can't sell that.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's against their cultural codes, right? But small little constructs like that, gas stations, right? This is basic math, G. We 27% of the city. It's not a black gas station in all Chicago. That's insane. You know what I mean? There's not a like I said, it's 3 black grocery stores in the country. I wasn't bullshitting. That's real math. You know what I mean? And one's in Compton. Like I can't even remember, but it's like 3. You know what I mean? So when you start thinking about necessities, gas. Everybody gonna go to a gas station every day. You know what I mean? Food. You gonna eat eventually. You know what I'm saying? One way or other, you gonna put something in your mouth. You know what I mean? And we don't have any anchoring into those industries. Right, and the vast majority of black wealth is pirated. Right, it's taken from us and sent somewhere else. And even black people do that shit. And it bothers me. Right, so like conceptually, I'm not a capitalist. I'm more of a socialist than anything. And eventually, when they talk about 40% of the job market is gonna go away, it's about to be some socialist shit going on here too, or it's gonna be a revolt. It's just got to be what it's got to be. You know what I mean? But when I think about black capital, like often I push back against black capital conversations because most of us look at it like white capital. What can I get with a pirated philosophy? Whereas we've kind of been forced to think like this because we was indoctrinated by white people. It just is what it is, right? We also compare ourselves to these other communities. We're like, well, the Asians come here and they do this, and the Arabs, but they have a cultural understanding. Right? So yeah, they excel in school because that's a cultural understanding. We're gonna be the best. But in regards to going to get it, we don't got to get it by your means.
That's right.
Right? And when we go get it, the first investment we got to make is back in us. The first investment we make is in making us look better. Right? And how does that happen in most instances? I gotta have a car that the homies ain't got. I gotta have an address that the homies ain't got. And that's usually putting us in positions where, again, they're pillaging. It's just like the chicken shack. You pillaging our money some more. You know what I mean? You pillaging our money some more. So I always want to recondition us to think differently about how we talk about capital. I'm not anti go and get money. Go get money. Right? But money ain't the goal. Money's just the tool. And I appreciate you saying. I heard you say that a few times. It's just a tool. But we got to look at it as such, and we look at it as a goal, right? Them Arabs own Dunkin' Donuts, bro. All of them. You know what I mean? All of them. They are the wealthiest ethnic group on American soil. Nobody knows that shit. The East Indians are the wealthiest. They're a very small group. Nigerians is right below them. You know?
But I wonder, cause I've heard in conversation, do they get money when they come over?
I've heard, I can't say factually.
I got you.
Right? But let's be clear about this too, though. You don't get over here without no money.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? Let's be clear about that. Just like the poor of us. We ain't over there. Right? How many niggas you know in Oblak got a passport? That's right. It ain't a real thing.
That's right.
Right? So if you getting up and moving, you got some access. You know what I mean? So we idealize them concepts like they came from nothing. No, the fuck they didn't. You don't get over a water, over no sea without no money. You know what I mean?
And everything you said was on point. A lot could be unpacked with that. But, you know, and a lot of what you said are disruptors. All of that, the indoctrination, all that kind of stuff, that we now have the opportunity, and that's kind of the message I'm pushing, is to disrupt it. You know, even with, like you said, in our culture, mom and daddy put the cable bill and kind of stuff in our names or what have you. So this is why I stress the importance of getting them young. My son got a license when he was 19. See, if I get you at 19, 20, 21, I get you before you mess up. You know, before you make those decisions. You know, I hope I catch you before you have a family, whatever the case. But I catch you before you make those decisions that'll mess you up, and then it can kind of, you know, build from there. one thing, like you mentioned, the cars, all this is intentional, especially nowadays. Cars, I guess post-pandemic, the prices are just on just ridiculous.
Crazy.
Ridiculous.
Crazy.
But again, they condition our young people to believe, go get the Charger, the Challenger, so on and so forth, and they don't know when you make that one, because you're gonna get it. People not getting denied. You're gonna get a car. They're gonna give it to you by any means. You're gonna get it.
Right.
So, by any means, get the car, and they don't know. 9 times out of 10, that's completely disqualifying you from purchasing the property, because when you purchase my FHA, first time home buyers thing, when you go buying your first property, debt to income is very important.
Mm-hmm.
If your debt supersedes your income, then you don't qualify.
Mm-hmm.
So you go on and you don't have no credit, you young, whatever the case, and you're going to buy your first building, cool, I got some money, and they look and say, oh, you went and bought a Hellcat and your condo $1,500. Now you can't afford this building now because you on the hook for so we have to change that, because they definitely doing that. As soon as they get some money, they go on to getting those cars. And they don't realize it's disqualified. That's why you can get that much easier than you can go get a property.
But I think the whole thing is tied together, right? So this whole idea of, like, talking about how we view money, as the goal and not necessarily a tool, because we view it that way, then it skews our thinking in terms of what's really important. So now, when we growing up, we wanted a car, right? Now, we might have thought what that thing wanted to look like, But we really wanted a car just to get around. Shorties want a Ferrari. Shorties want a Lambo. Shorties want to take Rolls Royces to prom. Like, you really want to take a Rolls Royce to prom? Like, conceptually, that wasn't even a fucking thought when we was growing up. Like, it was like, who got the best car that I know?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, and can I drive that fucking car? You know what I'm saying? Now, with Instagram, with social media, you know what I'm saying? All of this stuff looks so accessible and so real and so like, oh, I'm missing out on something because I don't have a Rolls Royce and I'm 16 years old. What the fuck is wrong with me? You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, yo, like, you know what I'm saying? But, that's the reality of the situation. And I think that, or at least that's the perception. And then perception can become reality. You know what I'm saying? And that, in totality, it leaves us in a messed up spot.
Yeah.
So I love when you talk about, different avenues to get to the bag, but putting it in its proper context. You know what I mean? But also teaching other people how to go about getting it. But I think the context part is as important as the
actual.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Because you can still get it. You can still get it. If you collect, and I told you at one point, if you collect on $700, even if you collect on $400 off of your investment property, then let that pay for that same car.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it is, the building is yours. So however 30, 40, 50, however you want it, is yours.
Mm-hmm.
So that your car note is 3 to 6 years. So that $400 you're making off that building gonna pay for this car, the next car, and that building is your car building.
Right.
That is specifically for whatever car you choose to buy. So you can still get it. Just let's get this first. Let's get that first. Then go back and get that.
Mm-hmm.
So you can still get and still, my son 20, took him to. My son's been to exposure. That's kind of what.
Yeah.
Exposure is important.
Critical.
Like right now, like Sunday, he had a conference call. He's on the phone, life insurance. They don't know. Yeah, you need life insurance. Oh, I got life insurance at my job. Okay, well, when you not working, now what? Whatever. So, but exposure to what's really important, and the earlier that you start, that we get them started, the better. I had conversations past couple weeks about a couple of young people that I'm aware of. Now they have children, they have babies, whatever. And unfortunately, their relationship is the man and the boy and the girl is not working out as much as you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They don't nobody get along no more. It's always a problem. So, but do they know that, okay, you might want to make that work because they put you on child support and then you think you're just gonna, now you're not getting no passport, it's gonna shut your life off. I don't know what you watched in TV or the movies, but think about these decisions. Like, yeah, I know she's whatever the case, but let's think logically. Think about your future. Think about, different stuff like that. So.
But to her point, all that's tied in too, right? Logic go out the door. You know what I mean? The expectation is you gonna fit into whatever the stereotypical box is of what we're supposed to do. Even in the cons, you brought up the charger, right? And it's interesting because I got again 18-year-old son. He talking that Rolls Royce shit for pride right now. I'm like, boy, you paying for that? Cause you got your damn mind.
Right,
You know what I mean? The charger concept. I was listening to I don't know if it was an insurance exec or a car salesman or something. He was talking about, they're gonna put you in it. They'll give you the charger because the charger, back to you what you said, debt to income value, or however they base the value of the charger per se. Like there's an expectation for you to have this car for X amount of miles and this shit's gonna die. And whether you pay for it or not, we're gonna make this much money off of it. He was like, man, same motherfucker that put you in the charger, see if they'll put you in the Honda Accord. Because the Honda Accord's not gonna break down. And you'll see where you really stand up financially because they won't give you a Honda Accord.
That's right.
Right, they're setting you up for failure by giving you the goddamn charger. Same car company, same buyer, same money, same credit. See if you can qualify what you don't even value as a decent car. Right? And they're not gonna give your ass the Honda. It just was very interesting to me to see how that math break down. The game is afoot, right? The game is upon us, man. It is what it is, right? And we fall a victim in a lot of ways. But again, to my point of that 10-year conversation, you can't deny that AI is happening, and it's happening fast. It's probably the fastest technological change we've ever witnessed as humans.
Other than the internet.
No, this is faster than the internet.
Internet came and changed the whole world, G, immediately.
I said faster. I can say this is going to change the whole world too, but this is faster than internet. We've been operating with internet for 20 years, right? And finding ways to, again, like I said about the technology happens and we adjust. That's what happens. Humanity adjusts, right? Before there was the fax machine, you mailed the fucking letter. Then there was the fax machine, it didn't take away jobs, though, right? Because it gave you time to adjust. When AI comes, as it's coming now, there will not be no adjustment period. You go to McDonald's now, and you're starting to see the automated machines. That's the lowest realm of employment in America, kind of stuff.
There are several fully functioning McDonald's with 0 employees.
Surely, and that's what I mean. So when you think about that and the impact that it's going to have, it's going to be rapid. You know what I mean? It's going to spread like a plague because any employer wants to get rid of a workforce. That's their biggest expense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So our response to that, in my mind, because there is no physical workaround. You can't beat it.
No, you're not gonna stop it.
So you got to change your mindset, right? And the mindset change goes back to what we see those other communities doing. My first interest has to be with my people. That's why Dunkin' Donuts works for the Arabs. That's why the nail shops works for the Koreans. Because it don't matter what the product is if we're vested in maintaining our group. You know what I mean? So we create this one thing and we run it back, and then we run back and invest with each other, whatever else we do.
Yeah.
Right? But if you out here singularly, you flapping in the wind like the tax balloons is outside. You know what I mean? It is what it is, and we got 10 to 15 years to figure that shit out.
Yeah, that lack of anchoring though. But I also think it's an ignorance or an arrogance, right? And that's a deadly combination, to be ignorant and arrogant. You know what I mean? But I think that, even in our own experience, you think back to any age you ever were, that was the oldest you have ever been. You know what I mean? So when I'm 16, I think I know all the shit because this is the most I've ever known. You know what I'm saying? This is the wisest I've ever been. So you can't tell me I'm not fucking smart. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't tell me I don't know all the shit. And that's a motherfucker that's 32, like I'm twice your age. It's like, I don't care. I know all the shit, bro. What are you talking about? You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't never been this smart. But that goes along with you forever. You know what I'm saying? I'm 37 today. I'm the smartest I've ever been. You know what I'm saying? So only through experience do I realize that don't necessarily mean shit. You know what I'm saying? So I still need to learn from, in this context, people older than me, right? But I know I can learn from anybody. But only through experience do I know that, right? I didn't know that at 16. You know what I'm saying? I thought me being the smartest I've ever been meant something. And so now, I still think I'm the smartest I've ever been, but I still know that don't mean I know all the shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm just smart enough to know that I don't know all the shit. And there's some more things for me to learn. But that's getting rid of the ignorance part, right? So I'm not ignorant along with my arrogance. That's that combination. You know what I mean? And I think young people have the combination of ignorance and arrogance. And without a sense of community, without being anchored into something, you absolutely will be flailing in the wind like the motherfucking blow up dolls on the street.
I think it's all people though. I don't even think it's young people. And I think we even just listen to you talk, G. I don't know about credit like that in that way, right? So and it's different for different people, right? Again, I just said I got an 18-year-old son, and the way I was exposed, like I come from a house of artists. I know a lot of shit about art the average person don't know, but they wasn't business people.
Right.
You know what I mean? It just is what it is. The shit that I did pick up on was what was available to me. Right? The other shit, I'm feeling my way through.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm almost 50, and I've felt my way through to this point. Right? I've acquired some levels of successes. But I also know that I've had opportunities that I could have propelled these successes way further if I knew. Right? Even in regards to the tax understanding, right? I got a partner, man, me and him been talking lately. And he ain't a tax dude, but he's the kind of guy that just picks up on shit digitally, or he can read something and he just gets it. He just, different minds work differently. Yeah. And he been breaking down some shit. He been doing some taxes because he's getting a whole lot of money right now. And when you getting a whole lot of money, you start figuring out how to not give him all your money.
Yeah.
And he was breaking shit down to me in a certain, I was like, man, how do you learn this? He's like, man, I read this, and I read this, and I read this. And I went back and read the shit, and I'm like, I still don't get how he got that.
From that.
You know what I mean? But just minds work different.
Yeah.
Right? And that's part of that communal thing, too, though. Right? And there has to be a level of trust that, like, all right, you here and you've learned this. I'm here. And I ain't picking it up the way you picked it up. Walk me through this so that I can learn it in a way that, you explain it to me in a way that I can learn it.
Yeah.
And we need all that.
Or you just have that sense of community where you trust that, all right, Kevin know this shit. I'm gonna rock with what you talking about. You know what I'm saying? I don't have to redo the shit. That's what a sense of community is. And shout out to Coach Seller for the super chat. Great show, fellas. We appreciate that on the super chat. But the idea of building self-sustainable communities, when I think about that, I think about it from the lens of everybody doing what you do. You know what I'm saying? So I imagine a community that may be, 5 by 5, 10 by 10 blocks. You know what I mean? And within that, you got a schoolhouse. You got, agriculture, somebody doing the farming. You got people who do the building. You got people who do, defense and security. You got all the components that you would need for a self-sustainable community. But I'm gonna be in that community, but I'm not fucking doing the gardening. I'm not doing the agriculture. I'm not doing the farming. I don't want to do that shit. I don't know how, and I don't have a desire to do it, right? I know it's a necessity, though. So we find out who does like to do that and get them on it, give them all the support they need to do that part. And then because of that, they don't ever have to worry about defense or security or where they go send their kids to school. You're going to send them to a schoolhouse. You ain't got to worry about nothing. You already bring value to the community with what we're doing. Everybody trying to learn all this shit when we started out so far behind. That's that individual thing. I have to figure out every single thing versus being anchored into a community where we can trust people who know they have the expertise for this thing. You have the expertise for that thing. Cool, no problem. You the motherfucking contractor in the community. You build the shit. You fix the shit. Cool. You ain't got to worry about where you're gonna eat. The food gonna already be here. Somebody done grew it. Somebody gonna cook it. You know what I mean? You ain't gotta worry about your daycare. You got the daycare set up. You just take your kids there and you make sure shit work in the fucking community. Yeah. Self-sustainable without me having to try and figure out, okay, how am I gonna be a contractor, a gardener, a fucking security agent, a fucking educator? Like, we shouldn't have to do all that. Right. Furthermore, we don't have the luxury or capacity to do all that.
Yeah. And I think if conceptually, if we kind of take the responsibility now, coming up, that's what we had, kind of, trial and error. If we take the responsibility now and stop showing them, our children, whatever the case, they can learn from it. Don't listen to me. Learn from each other, because I can make your son 18. He can be on my level at 21. Yeah. I started late. Yeah. So you can still be there. You can still be on somebody else's level at because you got the information early. So let them make it. Let them have that. So y'all they talk to each other anyway. So now all we doing is just changing the nature of the conversation.
And you can identify it early. Like, I don't like the gardening stuff now. I didn't like to play in dirt when I was shorty. I didn't like that. Right. You know what I mean? I wasn't a kid on my hands and knees in the dirt. I didn't like that shit. You know what I'm saying? So you can identify that then. Who are the kids like to play on their hands and knees in the dirt? Okay, well, you need to go to Miss So-and-so garden and learn this shit. And they can get into that as early as possible and be sustainable. You on the real estate stuff? Okay, this is how we're gonna continue to expand our community. It was 5 by 5, now it's 10 by 10. We're gonna get to 20 by 20, and this is how we're going to do that. If that's what you're into, then you need to go get with Mr. Kelvin class, and you need to get into that and figure out how we're gonna get. We got one grocery store, we need 2, right? Well, now how we gonna get a gas station? How we gonna get another building? How, you know what I mean? Like,
Connect the dots.
those are the things that we need to be on. I think you can identify that in shorties very, very early. I've been good with math my whole life. I can figure, like, how does that serve the community? You know what I mean? Those types of things are the things we need to be about, for real.
How long is the course?
So it's the self-paced, but you can, if you sit and go through it, you can be done in less than an hour.
Okay.
So I do videos to introduce the chapters, and then once you get to like a 2 or 3 minute video, then you go through it and get the information, and then it's a quiz after each chapter to kind of quiz what you just learned. I got examples in there, like how you were saying, back up and step. So I got the step-by-step example. If you get the 2-unit building, it costs this, and you do this and add that. So I got that in there. But when you go through all of it, it's basically, like I said, less than an hour. Less than an hour.
What's the cost of the course?
$99 right now. $99. To get your, again, in Illinois, is what I know, and Indiana, I believe, to get your CDL license is $4,000 to $5,000. I think I paid $35,000 or $4,000. So it's $4,000.
Mm.
So for the course, for $99, you find out how to get it for free, right?
Mm.
So you take a $99 course, which I, to your point earlier, the automation in the future, whatever the case, I think the next best suggestion is to invest in yourself, your mindset, and whatever the case. So this opportunity for them to invest in yourself, $99. You get the blueprint of how to get your first property, first building. You get the blueprint of the trucking industry, trucking company, and then you get resources on how you can get started. I got attorneys, lenders, the actual truck driving school, and the locations and the contact information to get that grant, to get the CDL license for free, and then where to go to get the jobs at.
That's dope. Yeah. That's dope. I like that a lot. If you just tuned in, talking to Kelvin Dunnigan, talking about disrupting the disruptors in your own personal life, what that looks like. Also talking about finding paths to freedom, to space, to really think and figure other things out in your life. And we're talking about specifically in real estate and trucking is the two of the paths that he's taken and what that journey has looked like from being, out in the streets, growing up on the south side of Chicago, what that all looks like. So if you're just tuning in, just wanted to bring y'all up to speed on what it is that we are discussing right now. And now talking about it from this wider lens of what that all looks like, right? In terms of the economic environment that we're in collectively as black people. When you talk about median dual income households around 50,000, like that informs you about the reality or the state of economics in the black community, right? And that should then inform you about the limitations we have individually. And what that should do is motivate you to figure out how we can do something collectively. But that's hard, right? Because we've been indoctrinated to be extreme, like independent, like solo journey. You know what I mean?
I don't even think it's that, man. I think we just, after a while, right, with so many losses, you stop caring.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? You just stop caring. So we don't even know our economic situation. When I get them numbers, they're alarming to everybody because don't nobody fucking know.
Mm-hmm.
You think you eating ramen because you like it. No bullshit.
That's it.
You know what I mean? You start like, oh no, I like chicken ramen. No, it's $1. That's why you eat chicken ramen. Like you eat chicken ramen. But after a generation, it ain't because it's $1. It's because I like it. And then that becomes your limiting belief that I ain't worth no more than this fucking ramen. You know what I mean? But that's part of the journey of this podcast. Or I'm gonna stop saying podcast because it's a revolution in black media.
Yes, sir.
In my mind, right?
Is ramen $1 now? I remember when it was 10 cents a pack.
I don't know.
That no more.
Let me tell you how.
It's not like that no more?
25 cents, I think.
25 cents a
To the
pack?
point, right? I'd never had ramen until I was an adult.
Okay.
I don't come from that world. You know what I'm saying? So when I met a world of motherfuckers like, you ain't never had, no. I was in poverty, but not this kind of poverty.
Not the 10-cent dinner poverty.
Like it's just a different level of poverty.
My man.
You know what I'm saying? This wasn't my poverty, bro. You know what I mean? So, but when I look at look at the shorties, man, they eat like they're in the penitentiary.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's their expectation. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Chicago got the best food in the world. You can argue that shit. Mm-hmm. Right? When you even hear people doing the Keith Lee and they're doing the food taste test, he's going to fucking Harold's and Uncle Remus. No knock to Harold's and Uncle Remus because I love Harold's.
Right.
But this Chicago.
Yeah. This Chicago, man.
Right?
You can eat anything.
You got restaurants in Chicago you can't even get into for 3-4 years.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you talking about judging the food in Chicago based off of Harold's and Uncle Remus.
That's right.
You got restaurants here that you got to make an appointment to get in that joint, reservation 4 years ahead.
I'll be there in
You
2027.
You can't judge Chicago food off Harold's and Uncle Remus.
Nope.
It's not the reality, right? But think about his popularity and in what he's doing. And I'm not knocking homie's hustle, but it speaks to how outside of the fray all of us are. Because we accepted his responses. Like when he went to Atlanta, there was an uproar because he said their food wasn't good.
Right.
When he went to Chicago, there was a celebration. You don't know what Chicago food is if you only fucking with Harold's and Uncle Remus.
That's right.
Right.
You
But
don't even have an idea.
But there's a lot of people in Chicago that don't have an idea.
That's kind of my point.
Yeah,
Most of
man.
us don't. And who's supporting Keith Lee? It's all us, black people.
Only New Orleans can compare to Chicago in food. And I would probably, if I'm being honest, and I don't want to be honest because I'm biased, I would probably give New Orleans a little bit of a nod on the food and just how fat it is. But Chicago is the only other place that's even in that conversation. People talk about like New York and shit, like knock it off.
But the conversation is an economic conversation. Even the fact that he's judging Chicago's food off fast food restaurants. No food critic in America is going around tasting fast food talking about it's the best food.
So it's the lack of exposure.
It's a lack of exposure,
Yeah.
but that lack of exposure is based on our economic situation. You know what I mean? We just don't fucking know because we're eating ramens out the gas station and Harold's is a delicacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that speaks volumes about us. And I'm saying about Chicago because we know what Harold's and Uncle Remus is here. But wherever else he going, he eating the same kind of shit. It ain't really changing. You know what I mean? So that's speaking to our economic situation across America.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So in order to change that, you got to have the information. No, shorty, you can't judge Chicago off Harold's and Uncle Remus. Right? Chicago pizza and oven grinder is one step above that.
Right.
And that ain't a big deal, but it would change your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I took a shorty to Lower Wacker Drive a couple years ago. He asked me, was we still in Chicago? Exposure, because you don't know and you're not invited to the party. What's the purpose of being downtown if you not got no money?
I want people to learn Lower Wacker Drive so bad, man. I know they got the big old thing, and you know, if of course I'm from Chicago, of course I don't know how to get around that kind of shit, Wacker Drive and shit. It's like I want people to learn how to get around Wacker Drive, and it could be complicated at first, but if you learn that shit, it is such a great tool to get through downtown. You can get on one end of downtown to the complete other side of downtown, underground in a couple minutes if you just know how to use that shit. You can also get your dumb ass stuck down there for an hour if you don't. And the GPS don't work down there.
But to the point of exposure, Chicago is one of the most beautiful cities in America.
Absolutely.
It's been rated as one of the most beautiful cities in the world.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right?
It's raw.
But our experience is south of 55th,
Yeah.
right? And I say south of 55th because the new Bronzeville, Hyde Park is some new nigga shit. You know what I mean? It's south of, it's 55th to 127th, and whatever it is west. You know what I mean? I don't know. I can't even think of the barriers west, but that's what it is.
Right.
But there's so much more to this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in the conversation of exposure to the point of, no, be exposed to credit. That's a conversation you got to be exposed to, right? Be exposed to the communal concept of gifting money for growing capital. You know what I mean? You said give somebody $3,000. That ain't. Gee, I got 2 children. You know how long $3,000 lasts me? Yeah, I don't even see the shit. I sold a car this morning. By this afternoon, I ain't gonna have that money. I know it. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
I know it.
Right.
A fucking car just paid for this month.
Gone.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
That's real, man. I was and I move around. I move around the city, right? I have had the opportunity to be exposed, and so I be outside. But I was outside yesterday on the north side, and you know, like it was 60, 65 degrees. Even I was like, this shit like Times Square. Just how many people were outside walking around and crossing the street? I was at one of them, 6-way intersections and shit. I'm like, it's a million motherfuckers crossing this street right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, damn, like I'm waiting across the street at the stoplight, but I'm like 10 rows of people back from the crosswalk. You know what I mean? I'm like, damn, motherfuckers is outside up here, like just moving around, motherfuckers walking dogs and riding bikes and all kind of shit.
Man, that exposure creates hope, bro.
Yeah, and to your point about the exposure to credit, I want people to realize as well, credit versus cash. If your credit will get you access to funding, right? To loans or credit card, whatever the case.
Mm-hmm.
So now if you got decent credit and then you get $10,000 from the bank or whatever the case, if it don't work, that was their money. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. Like you be surprised, the biggest people, what's the Twitter guy, Musk, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
These guys, they leverage, they get credit and lines of credit, whatever the case, and then they go try it.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't work,
With somebody else's money.
Thank you, we lost their money. So, man, I cashed out. Okay, you know what I mean? That don't mean we don't have the cash, but
Right.
you got to start thinking along those lines of utilizing credit because it makes that much of a difference.
Yeah, man, we're gonna have to do something together, man. We're gonna have to find some way to make Disruptor and Urban 2 some kind of partnership. I definitely want to get my son involved in what's going on. I might get involved in what's going on. But I think there's some value there, not in just this conversation, even in my son's conversation. Like part of, like I said, the anchoring and the goal of this is to elevate specifically black men, specifically young shorties. We do a lot in regards to like violence prevention. But there's only so much violence prevention you can do, because if you can't feed them, you can't lead them. You know what I mean? And part of the problem, I always say, it ain't part of the problem. The problem in our neighborhoods is not that they mad, it's that they poor. Right? And I think black bodies have always had a cost to get profit off black bodies. It just is.
Always.
Right? So when we think about it, the shorties just shooting each other up. They ain't just shooting each other up. They shooting each other up, then selling that story that they shot your ass for sale. You know what I mean? That's capital. Right? I'm not selling doing you. I'm selling for that to be.
Yeah, imagine that.
Wow.
Life being precious, but the commodity.
That's where you can get your course, $99. You reach me on Facebook, Kelvin Dunnigan, on Instagram, Kels_the General. Let's go, y'all. Disrupt the disruptors.
There it is, man. Kevin, we appreciate you coming through, brother. Thanks for taking the time. Definitely gonna stay in tune.
Have some merch.
Cop it. We appreciate y'all for tuning in. Please make sure y'all hit the like button before y'all leave. And you can still share the video with somebody else. They don't have to watch it live. They can watch it at their own time. Shout out to the whole team. P, Ron, E. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. For 2, my name is Herb. Y'all be good to each other. Peace.
Shalom alaikum.
So.